How y'all doing? I hope y'all definitely had an incredible week because I did. It was the fourth anniversary for myself and my beautiful girlfriend, and it was incredible. So we spent some quality time together, but that's not why we're here. Let's get right into today's topic. I know many of you actually saw the title, How to Overcome the I Don't Feel Like It mentality as it relates to the gym, training, exercising. Because I can't tell you how many times I've met people that just, but Sam, I want to train, but I didn't feel like I was tired. I wasn't motivated. I'm going to give you 3 robust habits that you can implement today, not tomorrow, to help you make sure you show up on days when you're supposed to train, even if you don't feel like it. But before we get into that, I want you to understand first and foremost that you're not the only one that don't feel like it sometimes. Like there are many times where I don't feel like getting out of bed. There were many times I don't feel like paying my credit cards. There were several occasions I did not feel like reading any book at all. But when things are priority for you, right, especially when it comes to your health, do not try to have that conversation. That debate, you're going to lose. I need you to understand that first and foremost, right? Your health is your wealth. No more excuses, especially after you watching this episode. You're going to learn some very incredible tips that I don't think I've heard anybody even talk about at all, but I believe they are super valuable. So the first thing that whenever you don't feel like it, that you must do is to use that negative conversation as a trigger to help you actually show up in the gym, right? So all I'm saying is become self-aware of that conversation, become cognizant, because a lot of us, when we don't feel like it, we find out later after we decided not to show up in the gym. And if you don't see it, then you lost already. So find a way to become self-aware and say, okay, this is just my mind playing games, right? Usually for me, it happens to me around like Thursday, Fridays, where my body's, I can go tomorrow. I see if tomorrow is guaranteed. Or I see if there's no emergencies that pop up out of nowhere. We all know this, that there were several things we procrastinated and we were never able to do as a result of things coming up. All you have to do is make sure you tell yourself, this is just a conversation that is not going to help me in the long run. This is just mind games, and I'm going to show up and train. And I need you to understand, if you show up to train on those days when you really don't feel like it, it's like somehow you tend to have the best workouts. And this is what I've noticed is like on those days when I don't feel like doing certain things, they are the most motivating days when I show up to train. And I'm telling you right now, if you find a way to get to the gym, especially with everybody lifting weights, there is no way you're not going to be energized. Like, I love the gym environment. I love going to a place like that where everybody has a single vision and they all trying to look better, feel better, get in shape, take care of their body, be healthy. And ultimately, this is your body we're talking about. This is your health. And if you know anything about people that live longer, if you know anything about cognitive function decline, when you exercise, all these stuff get reduced as you age. I'm not trying to say anything crazy, but like I'm 32 and I don't feel 32. And I believe a lot of it is as a result of me training for the last 7, 8 years. And the thing that I also notice about people that find a way to exercise regardless is they're extremely confident in themselves. Have you met people that actually are in shape and find a way to train all the time? Like, they come up with these crazy stories. Okay, that's not what we're even going to talk about today. But that's the first thing, is use your triggers, that's negative conversation, as a way for you to actually show up and train. The second one on the list, when you don't feel like training. Now, listen, these are things that I personally use up to today to still help me execute, because we are human, right? And there are certain times where no matter what happens, you just simply don't want to go to the gym. And so the second thing that I believe will help you show up on days when you don't feel like it is watching motivational videos on YouTube. Now, this is the ultimate sauce right here. I'm telling you, one of my favorite channels that I like to throw on is Machiavelli Motivation. I'm actually going to put it on the screen so you guys can see it. Oh, it'll be in the link somewhere. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. But Machiavelli Motivation, you see all these giant bodybuilders go crazy in the gym. I do not care what type of mood you are in. You could be upset. You could be lethargic. You are going to be pumped after watching that for 5-10 minutes. And again, like I said, once you get to the gym, you don't need any special force to push you. You're going to find a way to train. And if you can't even get access to YouTube, you can go on Spotify, right? You can go on Apple Podcasts, or you can go on even Apple Music, and you'll be able to find these motivational workout videos or workout audios, and it will completely shift your state, because that's all we need. It's just a weird conversation that we have with ourselves. And if you can find a way to shift that state and be energized and be pumped, you're going to show up and find a way to exercise. All right. The last one on the list that I believe is every fitness influencer, bodybuilding, or anybody that goes to the gym's favorite is actually pre-workout. Now, if the two that I just mentioned doesn't work for you, right? All you got to do is go to your local convenience store and get you a pre-workout. My pre-workout of choice is Rain. Some of you like Ghost. Some of you like Monster. Again, I don't know what pre-workout you want, or you can buy the actual pre-workout. Optimum Nutrition. There's so many brands out there. Find one that works for you. As long as it doesn't have a billion beta-alanine so you don't get the itches. I'm not a fan of beta-alanine, even though there is tremendous amount of research and benefits that come with beta-alanine. It's definitely going to improve your endurance. I'm just not a fan. I don't want my eyes to be itching. That's not my thing. So if that's your thing, go for it. But I believe if you can take a pre-workout on days when you don't feel like training, you're going to completely shift your mood. 30 minutes of taking pre-workout before working out, boom. You're ready to go. You're ready to show up and execute. And if you take a pre-workout, if you used to training like 30 minutes in the gym, now all of a sudden you're going to train like 45 minutes as a result of that. And that's something that if you work out, you know this, right? Just to kind of recap everything that we talked about today. When you have the conversation within, right, which is usually in your mind that's telling you not to go, you have to remind yourself that this is my health. It is that important. You don't have to go to the gym 5 days a week. All you have to do is have a system and methodology where there's 2 days a week, but find a way to show up. Stop having that conversation with yourself and interrupt that by saying, this is just mind games. This is not going to serve me. And ultimately, if I do find a way to show up and train, I'm going to feel better about myself when I leave. And if that doesn't work, I can still go on YouTube and pull up some motivational videos from the Workout Motivations that could inspire me to really find a way to train. I really want you guys to be able to get the results you want. You watching this or you listening to this because you want to be able to find ways to train so you can get your ultimate results and your outcome when it's all said and done. So find a way to go on to YouTube, find a way to go on Apple Music or wherever you like to listen to your audios, and find some workout videos to encourage you to show up. And also, if that doesn't work, then you know that a pre-workout is always the go-to. 30 minutes before your workout, you're going to be pumped and you will still be able to train. You find yourself telling yourself that, oh, you know what? I can't train because I don't feel like it. You stop yourself right there. Remember these 3 tips. If you need to come back and rewatch the episode again, rewatch it again. My goal is that you actually implement this and make it as part of your overall routine. That way it becomes autonomous, it becomes subconscious, it becomes so much easier for you to execute even when you don't feel like it. You can still get out of bed even if you're tired. You can still find a way to write that book even if you're tired. You can find a way to read even if you don't feel like it. You are making constant deposits towards your habits and rituals. And if you don't become cognizant of this and you let it keep happening to you where you don't feel like you don't do this, you don't feel like you don't do this, every time you do that, it makes it a lot easier for you to keep not doing it. But if you find a way by using these habits that we talked about to still show up and train, it will make it a lot easier for you to keep doing it. I actually said this on my Instagram this week, right? People underestimate the power of momentum, right? And so let's say you don't feel like going to the gym this coming Wednesday. Okay, no biggie. You apply one of these things, you show up. And then maybe next week it pops up again. You apply it and then you show up. After doing it about 2 or 3 times, it becomes a lot more easy. And then you don't even have to think about it just like that. I just need you to build a certain level of momentum where it gets to a point, it's so much easier. And then you just show up to train. You matter, your health matter. And when you get in shape, when you lose that weight, when you build that muscle and you look good and you feel good, people start giving you a lot of compliments everywhere. Your confidence is going to start rising up. And a lot of you, one of the main reasons why you're really not confident in yourself because you're not confident in your body. When you look in the mirror, you don't love the person you see in the mirror. Because when I wake up and I'm standing in the mirror, I'm very confident in myself because I love the person I see. Now, obviously, I've put in a lot of work. I've consistently showed up, did what I'm supposed to do, eat the right meals, paid attention to my nutrition. Of course, that all plays a part. But ultimately, I believe a lot of my confidence, even being able to put myself out there in terms of doing videos like this and doing podcast episodes like this, all came from the fact that I became consistent with my training. And so one of the big pillars of the mission of our whole podcast is fitness. And I think it's the foundation for everything that I do. I cannot go for more than 2 days without training. That's how much important it is. And I want you to be able to get to that point where you know that if I don't train for more than 2 days, that's an abomination. Do you see what I'm saying? So please find a way. If you listen to this episode up to this point, you spend 20 minutes, you spend 30 minutes, you spend 40 minutes. Do not waste your time. Implement this because obviously you need it. The people that don't need things like this, they're not going to watch this episode. The people that need it are the ones that I'm doing this for, the ones that want to really get certain outcomes when it comes to training and going to the gym, but just some days they just don't feel like it, and therefore they haven't been able to gain that consistency that most people get when it comes to their training. I am trying to help you be able to achieve these things. Find a way to incorporate it as part of your daily life. That way you can extract the wisdom from this and find out, oh, I think this is not bad. When I watched that motivational video, I was inspired. When I took that pre-workout, I got a lot of energy. And one of the big tips that I will actually give it to you if you do decide to take a pre-workout is if you consistently take it for about, 5 months or 6 months, it's better to get off for like a week or two and then come back on it again. I believe you get more hit from that instead of continuously doing that. It's kind of like caffeine. If you drink coffee all the time and stop for a few weeks and come back and take coffee again, it's a different type of ball game, right? Please apply it. I know it works. I use it right now in my life. When I don't feel like it, the common one that I use all the time is the motivational one. Like I would just throw it on. I'm good to go. I know I'm already going to take a pre-workout anyway, but sometimes I'm not in the mood to train, but I know what I'm trying to achieve. I know I want to live longer, right? I want to slow down my overall cognitive decline. Like I want to be able to take benefits in areas where I know in the long run is going to help me. So I do these things to help me make sure I show up and train. Thank you so much again for listening to this episode, man. You guys, we are on episode 4 and you still tuned in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Make sure you share this episode with anybody out there that could use it. Anyone that struggles with discipline in terms of training, anyone that really don't feel like doing certain things sometimes. I believe this is going to be valuable and resourceful. All right. I've decided to add a new section to this podcast, and that is before everyone get out of here, or before we end the podcast, I have a quote for you to take with you because I know some of you, no matter what happens, even though you might come back and listen to this episode a few times, you will still not remember a lot of things that we talked about. But I know the quote is going to stick with you, right? So the quote that I have for this week is, do it when you don't feel like it, because it's all part of deposit towards your habits. And this is so true. And every action you take or not take goes towards that. You're making incremental deposits every day. If I were you, I'll become more cognizant of these actions. So on days when I don't feel like training, you can apply and implement these 3 things we talked about. And I know it's going to help you execute. Stay blessed, stay out of trouble, and I'm going to catch you all in the next one.